Welcome back. I'm Bill Anderson. I'm coming live from the Costa del Sol, and I have another guest on with me now, Louisa Evans. Louisa, welcome. Oh,
That little bit of technical difficulty there.
hi, Louisa. It never fails, does it?
No, not at all.
Louisa, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Bill?
I am well. I'm just trying to stay cool.
Mm.
So, Louisa, we are going to be talking about Rescued Paws, but first of all, a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, Louisa?
Okay, so originally I'm from Wales, obviously in the UK.
I think that
Um,
the Evans might have been a hint,
but
yeah?
the accent fools it because I haven't got a Welsh accent.
Yeah,
But yes, originally from Wales. My father was in the Navy, so we travelled quite a bit. So we ended up in Taunton in Somerset.
right, okay.
So yeah,
And
and
how did Taunton in Somerset turn into the Costa del Sol?
well, I joined the Navy
Right,
and then went away. I ended up working in Baghdad in Iraq
right,
for 8 years, and then I've got an uncle and auntie that live down in Sotogrande,
okay.
and I fell in love with the Costa del Sol. Visiting them years ago, and when I was in Iraq, I decided that I wanted to buy here. So
Right.
that's how I ended up on the Costa del Sol.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, Sotogrande is the posh part, isn't it?
Yes.
But anyway, you settled very close to me here in Mijas.
Yes.
And how long ago was that, Louisa?
It must be about 16 years ago now.
Oh my goodness, time passes, doesn't it?
It does indeed. It could be longer. I'm not quite sure. I'm getting older, so the brain's not quite as good as it used to be.
You haven't been sampling the wine too much, have you?
Not so much. Not so much. I've been a good girl lately.
Okay. So, Louisa, there are a number of, I'm going to call them animal rescue charities down here on the coast. Why? Tell us a little bit about Rescued Paws and how you got involved and why you got involved with it.
Okay. Well, Rescued Paws is very close to my heart. It started back in 2015. It was actually started by a good friend of mine, Kay Millington, who happens to be my hairdresser.
All right,
And I've known Kay for years, and she's been running the charity since 2015. I've only really recently got involved with it because I adopted a kitten through Kay by Jade.
right,
And then I wanted to get more involved with it and do more things, and now I'm actually a fosterer as well as I help out with the actual charity as well with the administration side.
right.
So there's a lot involved with it. And really, Kay's actually managed to get here today. So she's probably better at explaining more about Rescued Paws. So if I can just bring her into the
Of
picture.
course. Hi,
Hello.
Kay. I'm
Just there in the sidelines.
very pleased that you could join us today, Kay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Kay, tell us a little bit then about how Rescued Paws came to be set up. What were the things that you were looking at? What were the things that you were facing
So
when you decided to set up?
basically, when I moved to Spain, which was 10 years ago now, it seemed that they kind of found me, did the animals. I didn't find them. Everywhere I went, I mean, I've always loved animals and I've always worked with animals in England also and been quite involved in wildlife rescue more than actual domestic animals.
Right,
Um, but it seemed, literally the first week that I moved to Spain, I found a mother cat with kittens in my urbanization. And I started to investigate, what I can do to help them more than just feed them, because of course, when you see a homeless animal, of course, the first thing you think is that you want to feed it, but you have to think further down the line. It had small kittens. I started feeding her so that I could trap her when the kittens were not feeding from her, and I seek a lot of help from other people that have been here a lot longer to find out where I can order cages from and traps and things like that.
Right.
And it kind of started through that, really. And then it went into, every time I'd go out somewhere, I'd find a dog, or I'd see a dog running down the road. So I've always had leads in my car. I always have like at least 4 dog leads in my car
Right.
when I go out. And it then moved on to people finding out that, I've rescued a lot of wildlife. So then I get people bringing me all sorts of surprises, as well as cats and dogs and domestic animals. So it's kind of stemmed from there. And as I say, a lot of people have got to know me more now, so they know who to call if they need advice, if they find something, and what to do. So that's basically how we started.
Right. And do you have an actual center, Kay, or is this really the whole thing managed from your home, or how does that work in practice?
So basically, when it's very small animals, like wild animals, I can do that from home, like birds, little hedgehogs or things like that, maybe bottle feeding kittens. But I really, really do rely upon foster homes and people
Right.
that, you don't have to be so experienced. I can teach people to do everything. So, looking after animals, finding people that want to foster kittens, finding people that want to help me do the Facebook page. It's lots of different volunteers for different things, and since obviously Louisa's become on board, it's made it's a lot less weight on my shoulders because she does help with a lot of things as well. So, and I also pay for dog and cat hotels, because when I'm overrun and I don't have anywhere to put them and no foster homes, I then have to raise funds and start putting them in private residence. So that's basically what I do. I don't actually have a shelter yet, but that's something that I would look into. I'd like to do in the next 5 years.
Right. Yeah. Do you think the problem down here with abandoned animals, and I'm not thinking obviously about the wild animals, because things happen to wild animals all the time, and that's not much you can do about that.
Yeah.
But do you think there is a serious problem down here with abandoned animals?
I mean, to be fair, I've been here 10 years. I'm a very positive person. And one thing I would like to say is in the last 10 years, I have noticed a huge, huge improvement here. So looking on the positive side, it is getting better. There's lots of people that want to help abandoned animals. A big problem we do have, obviously, is not just animals on the street that have not been spayed, but people's pets that have not been spayed, and then they don't know what to do with them, so they abandon them. Also, massive problem, not just now, but for the last few years, I've noticed many people going back to, where they come from, their own countries, and they say they can't take the animals. And in the end, if there's nowhere, for them to be taken to, they actually are leaving the animals. And that is a really big problem at the moment. I get many messages, and it's almost like, okay, we're moving back to wherever in 3 days. Please, can you take the cat because we can't take it? And you think to yourself, well, you didn't plan only 3 days ago that you were moving to another country. So I do get quite frustrated, but I do try and help everyone that I can. But so overall, it's very difficult to help. And then you've got the animals on the street, which, not all street animals are actually born on the street. A lot of them are abandoned, and they seem to like gather together and sort of join a little team, and people do start to feed them. But the most important thing is the street animals do need to be spayed. They still deserve to live. People don't need to be unkind to them. They might not particularly like to see them, but you don't have to be unkind, and you can reach out for help. You can always contact me, Rescued Paws Spain, on Facebook, and I can always advise and help people what the right route might be. I can't always guarantee that I can take them, but I can try my best to help.
Yeah, and we've noticed that a lot of the animals that we've come across just on the street have clearly been someone's pet at some
Yeah,
point,
which
because
is so sad.
they're too socialized to have been born on the street and grown up on the street. Um, in fact, we actually have 3 dogs and 3 cats, which have all
Oh,
which have all sort of ended up here, you know.
yeah,
But
found you.
yeah, one of them is a lovely, not pure, but Siamese cat, and actually she appeared at, near the office where my wife was working, and she was hungry and she was thin and she was so friendly. So Vicky fed her during the week at work, and then it came to Friday, and she said, "I'm not leaving her all weekend." So she came home,
No,
and she stayed here ever since. But she's so socialized that there's no way that this is not a feral cat.
no. And this
And
is the problem, with them, because they don't, like people say, oh, they come back to the natural instinct. Look, if a cat's lived in a home and been cared for and been inside and been brushed and fed and watered, and then they get put on the street, of course they're a natural, they are an animal and they will go back to their instinct. But you have to remember, they're so used to being cared for, they are really lost and they really don't know what to do, and you can sometimes really see that they're begging you to take them, and
yeah,
it's heartbreaking to see.
yeah. So how many? I'm going to call them your volunteers, but how many fosterers do you have sort of around the area, Kay?
So at the moment I've got 4 permanent fosters.
Right.
We all, me being one of them, so really 3, but we've all got different jobs. So we've got myself and Rebecca, she's a vet nurse, so we do the sort of the nursing of the animals that are poorly, and that need that extra care.
Mm,
And then Louisa's really good at rehabilitating cats, when they've come from the street and they need to be tamed. And also we've got Nicola, who also does exactly the same thing and gets them ready to travel, because we send a lot of animals abroad.
right. Okay.
So they have to, they have to be ready to travel and not, nervous wrecks to maybe go on an aeroplane or go on a transport. So it's very important that fostering literally saves lives.
Sure. And I have to say, I take my hat off to people who can foster animals. I've never been able to do it, because as soon as an animal comes into my house, it's like it's not going away again, you know.
Yeah, it is difficult.
And
It's happened to me as well, but it's difficult. You have
it,
to be a strong person to do it.
absolutely. We actually live close to another an animal rescue centre just across the road from us, and we've been in and out from various times, and I have to say, to my wife, I don't think it's a good idea for you to come over here with me,
Yeah.
because because she's going to fall in love with something, with a dog or a cat or something, you
Yeah,
know.
it is difficult. You have to be strong, you have to be strong, but you have to look at it that, if you foster, you really are saving that life, because you're getting it ready to go to a wonderful home. And although it's heartbreaking to let them go, it's the most important part of it.
Yeah. It is, and as I say, I have great admiration for people that can, that have the kind of steel to
Yeah,
to bring an animal into their home, and to, as you say, sort of prepare it, socialize it, prepare it for
yeah,
travel and all these sort of things, and then say, bye bye to it.
yeah.
Um,
Very difficult.
to tell me, do you have a website, Kay, or do you work from mainly from social media, from Facebook?
Yeah, I mainly really do work from social media. We are looking into a website, but to be honest, I'm so overwhelmed at the moment with so many different animal dramas that I can't possibly have time to check my website. So I'm looking into it. Louisa's looking into it now
Yes.
for me. So we are going
Sure.
to have a website very shortly, but at the moment we're just, from Facebook, social media,
Yeah.
but we're definitely looking into that. Yes.
So, tell me, what kind of support do you get from the local authorities for the work that you do?
Well, we don't get any support, to be honest. I mean, you get support from people that want to donate, and obviously because we are a registered organisation, we're very lucky that we can accept donations.
Right.
So we can do appeals on Facebook. We can do little stalls at markets and things like that. Do events, but basically it's all self-funded and from very kind people that want to donate,
Yeah.
and sometimes we're self-funding it, doing it through our own money, really.
Yeah, I'm
If
sure.
we can't get the donations yet.
Yeah, but I have to say that that there are a lot of and I would say not-for-profit organizations down here. Not all of them are animal organizations, but many are. And I have to say the people down here on the Costa del Sol have very deep pockets.
Yeah,
and
very
and and
generous.
incredibly generous. And yeah, you're working hard. You're setting up stalls and collecting stuff that you can sell to raise funds, and organizing events. But people down here are incredibly generous for
Yeah,
the way that they support so many not-for-profit organizations. And I say not all of them are to do with animals, but quite a large number are.
yeah, and we're very lucky to be here on the Costa del Sol, and we're lucky that people do, help us with donations, because without them people, we can't carry on.
Yeah.
So it's, we rely on this, and we're really grateful to everyone that supports us.
Yeah. Do you have any concept in your head, Kay, of how much it would cost to set up a shelter?
I mean, I've thought about this many times, and it's not just about the money. It's more about the paperwork and the licenses, and it can take years to set up a proper legal animal
Right.
charity. So that's why I'm saying in the future, in the next 5 years, of course, I would love to do this, but you have to have the right licenses. You can't just, collect animals. You have to have everything correct. So, as we know, sometimes it does take longer to do these kinds of things. But to set up something and build something, you're talking a lot, a lot of
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands, I should think. So I am playing the lottery twice a week as well. I'm hoping that I'm being positive.
Yeah, it is difficult, and as you say, it isn't just about, well, how much would it cost to build it. It is getting through the this wall of bureaucracy and paperwork, and finding a piece of land that they would consider to be suitable for it. And yeah, it isn't.
It's not as
The,
easy as it sounds.
there seems to be very few things down here that are actually simple to set up, Kay.
Yeah.
And you've done the right thing by actually registering as a not-for-profit organization, which does allow you to raise funds and
Yeah.
whatever. But it's a lot of work, isn't it?
It's a lot of work, and not just physical work. It's mentally draining as well, and it's something that we all love doing, but it is, it's not always happy endings, and
No.
people finding animals that need desperate help, and they don't always make it. So it is very sad sometimes, but you have to sort of level it up with the good things and the bad things, and it is more good things than bad, but you do have to cope with some emotional strain as well.
Yeah, sure. Would you say that your biggest costs, though, are probably vet bills?
Yes, absolutely. Vets bills and residence bills. So obviously, like, you have to pay. I pay for animals to go into dog and cat residence, like the same place where you would put your animals when you went on
Go on
holiday.
holiday,
So
yeah.
obviously, this is a really big cost.
Uh-huh.
Um, we have to consider, but also vets bills is very expensive as well.
Hmm. And do you need more volunteers?
And
Yes.
yeah,
For,
we definitely. I'll send you
Yeah.
over to Louisa with that one.
I can
She's
see
the head of
Louisa's
head of
head going in the
volunteer
background there.
organising.
Yeah, definitely more volunteers. If anybody is listening out there that would like just to give some time, or feels that they've got a spare room that they could set up, I got rid of my lodger, and set up the spare room as a cat room.
Right.
And that's a dedicated cat room. Well, basically in the beginning for my cat. So they've got everything in there that they want. But now I use it as the foster room.
Right.
Or if we have a sick cat that comes in, because I can close the door, they're relaxed in there. I have my the Amazon Alexa that's playing relaxing music constantly.
right.
I've got foster at the moment,
Uh-huh.
Frankie, who is a gorgeous Burman cross. What is it? Maine Coon. Originally, he's been living in a colony for 3 years.
Right.
But he's a house cat.
He's a house cat now. He's come on so well, and he's been through the wars, bless him, and he's up for adoption now. But he's in there currently.
Yeah.
We're obviously, as soon as he goes, then it'll be ready ready for the kittens.
But Louisa, I do hope you didn't put your lodger out on the street so that you could give his room or her room to the street cats.
No comment. No comment.
And we've just recently, it's fantastic. We've just recently been donated a Catio, which will be going on my balcony so that the cats can go in and out safely and have a little bit of outdoor space,
Right.
but without falling off the balcony. Yeah. So
right,
that is
I have no idea what that is.
It's a bit like a big aviary, but for cats.
Ah, right,
so
okay.
They've got little perches that they can go and sit on. They can sit and get fresh air and everything and just come and go as they please. But I will be having a camera installed in there so I can keep an eye on them.
Right. Okay. So that sounds like a nice idea. So that they can actually come from inside to outside, but in an enclosed environment.
That's in a safe enclosed area.
Yeah,
because one of mine's a Manx cat, so she hasn't got the tail.
Right.
So she hasn't got the balance of a normal cat.
Cats can be really irritating little things, can't they? As soon as they get out and see the sky, it's like, I'm off.
Yeah.
And the chances of them getting back up onto the balcony again are less than the chances of them jumping off it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you've got any listeners out there that feel that they would like to join us and become a fosterer, I can say from the bottom of my heart, it's the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. I love it.
Well, look, our time is it's flying away here, Kay and Louisa. If people want to find out more about you, the best thing is to then go through Facebook. And if you put in
Rescued Paws Spain,
and Dave will also put this up onto the website for Expat Radio. We'll put it into the podcast as well so that people can actually get in contact with you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having us.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm glad you were able to join us today as well, Kay.
Thank you.
So, well, thank you. And we wish you all the very best. This is a labor of love, and I know people who are involved in other animal rescue, and I would say that of all of you, it is a labor of love.
It is.
And I don't think it's going to just disappear. It would be lovely if this wasn't a problem, but it is something that it's just as perennial as the grass. It just keeps coming back and back and back, doesn't it?
But it is getting better, and I just want to say a big shout out to all the other charities that do so much. And it's great that we can all work together, and together we are stronger.
Okay. Louisa, thank you so much. All the very best for the future with Rescued Paws Spain. And can I wish you a great weekend. And to everyone who's been listening in today, all 90,000 of you, have a wonderful weekend. And I'll be back next Friday at 1:00. Take care, everyone.